Ethan was a master of mischief, the self-proclaimed prank king of his college. His escapades were legendary, ranging from harmless gags like filling classrooms with balloons to borderline outrageous stunts that left the campus in fits of laughter. But this time, his target was Claire, a graceful ballet student known for her dedication and poise. Claire was everything Ethan wasn't: disciplined, elegant, and always on her toes, quite literally. "All right, guys," Ethan whispered to his friends as they huddled in the dorm common room. "Here's the plan. We swap Claire's costume for the recital with one of those giant, inflatable ballerina suits. Imagine her face when she walks out on stage looking like a bloated marshmallow." His friends chuckled, though one of them, Marcus, hesitated. "Dude, maybe you should leave Claire alone this time. She's got a lot riding on that recital." Ethan waved him off. "Relax. It's just a joke. She'll laugh about it later." The plan was set. Ethan snuck into the campus theater the night before Claire's big recital, replacing her delicate white tutu with the inflatable monstrosity. He left, grinning at the thought of the audience's reaction. But fate had other plans. The next day, Ethan attended the recital, seated in the back row with his friends. The auditorium was packed, and the air buzzed with anticipation. The lights dimmed, and the performance began. Ethan could barely contain his excitement, waiting for Claire's big moment. When the time came, Claire stepped onto the stage. But to Ethan's confusion, she was wearing her original costume, moving with the same effortless grace as always. "What the?" Ethan whispered, frowning. Had someone found the prank and undone it? Suddenly, his phone buzzed. It was a text from Claire. "Nice try, Ethan. But you're not as sneaky as you think. Enjoy the show." Ethan's stomach sank. Before he could respond, the spotlight shifted, and a voice over the speakers announced, "Now, a special surprise performance by one of our audience members." The lights brightened, revealing a stagehand guiding Ethan into the spotlight. His heart stopped. "What's going on?" he stammered as he was pulled onto the stage. Claire's voice came from the wings. "Payback." Before he could protest, two dancers appeared, dragging an enormous rolling rack of costumes. The audience clapped and cheered, oblivious to Ethan's panic. "Let's see how well you do as a ballerina, Ethan," Claire called out, her voice dripping with mischief. Moments later, Ethan found himself in a dressing room, surrounded by a flurry of dancers and costume designers. They weren't giving him a choice. The tight corset of a pink tutu was wrapped around his torso, the fabric snug against his chest. He tried to object, but the seamstress cut him off with a stern look. "Stop squirming, or this will take all night," she snapped, tugging the ribbons of his pointe shoes tight. He looked at himself in the mirror and barely recognized the person staring back. His wiry frame was transformed into a caricature of femininity: delicate lace, satin ribbons, and a voluminous skirt that flounced with every movement. "This is insane," he muttered, trying to loosen the corset, only to have a dancer swat his hands away. "You think pulling pranks is funny, huh?" one of the male dancers said, smirking. "Let's see how funny you look trying to pirouette." The curtains rose again, and Ethan was shoved onto the stage, the audience roaring with laughter. His cheeks burned as he stumbled into the spotlight. Claire appeared beside him, dressed flawlessly in her tutu. "Follow my lead," she whispered, "and try not to fall." The orchestra began to play, a sweeping melody that filled the auditorium. Claire started with a graceful leap, spinning effortlessly. Ethan tried to mimic her but tripped over his own feet, nearly toppling into the orchestra pit. The crowd howled with laughter. "Keep your arms up," Claire hissed, yanking him upright. "And point your toes." Ethan flailed through the routine, every movement exaggerated and clumsy. Yet, as the performance continued, something unexpected happened. The audience's laughter began to shift into applause. They weren't just laughing at Ethan anymore, they were rooting for him. After what felt like an eternity, the performance ended, and the curtain fell. Ethan collapsed onto a bench backstage, his legs trembling. "Not so funny when the joke's on you, huh?" Claire said, smirking as she handed him a water bottle. Ethan groaned, still catching his breath. "All right, you got me. But this was way over the top." Claire shrugged. Maybe. But now you know what it feels like to be in someone else's shoes, literally. Ethan stared at her for a moment, realizing she wasn't entirely wrong. Fair enough, he muttered. But don't think I'm letting this go. The next day, Ethan's phone blew up with messages. Videos of his accidental debut had gone viral, earning him nicknames like Ballet Bro and Twinkle Toes. At first, he was mortified, but as the days passed, he found himself laughing along with everyone else. What surprised him most, though, was the unexpected camaraderie with the ballet students. Claire invited him to join one of their rehearsals, and despite his initial reluctance, he agreed. To his shock, he found the experience oddly rewarding. Ballet was harder than it looked, and he developed a newfound respect for the art, and for Claire. Weeks later, Ethan stood in the same theater, this time as a willing participant. Dressed in a sleek black costume, he executed a passable pirouette, the audience erupting into cheers. As the curtain fell, Claire clapped him on the back. Not bad, Twinkle Toes. Not bad at all. Ethan grinned. Guess I'm not the only one who can pull off a surprise. And for the first time in his life, Ethan realized that being the center of attention didn't always mean being the clown. It could mean being part of something beautiful. The journey from prankster to reluctant ballerina wasn't as simple as Ethan had hoped. Though the viral fame had died down slightly, it was clear that his brief stint on stage had left a lasting impression on everyone around him. People started treating him differently, not just as a prankster, but as someone who had dared to step out of his comfort zone, even if by accident. What surprised Ethan the most was the change in his own perspective. His newfound respect for ballet wasn't just lip service. It was genuine. But the path to redemption and reinvention wasn't easy. You're joking, right? Ethan said, staring at Claire in disbelief. Nope, she replied, arms crossed. You promised you'd make it up to me. Joining our recital for real is how you're going to do it. Ethan groaned. I thought my humiliation on stage was enough payback. Claire raised an eyebrow. That was just a warm-up. Besides, you actually have potential. If you're going to crash our world, you might as well learn how to do it properly. Claire's words sparked something in Ethan, a mix of defiance and curiosity. He didn't like being told he couldn't do something, especially when the challenge was this daunting. Fine, he said, narrowing his eyes. I'll do it. But don't expect me to wear that pink tutu again. Claire smirked. Oh, you'll wear what we tell you to wear. Welcome to the world of ballet. Ethan's first official ballet class was nothing short of a disaster. Point your toes. Claire barked as Ethan stumbled through the warm-up exercises. I am pointing them, he retorted, looking down at his awkwardly flexed feet. No, you're not. That's called flexing, Claire corrected, demonstrating the proper position. Try again. The other dancers, initially skeptical of Ethan's presence, couldn't help but laugh at his clumsy attempts. But slowly, their amusement turned into encouragement. You've got to use your core, one of the male dancers, Alex, advised, demonstrating a simple turn. Otherwise, you'll keep losing your balance. Ethan huffed, his muscles already screaming in protest. Ballet was deceptively grueling. Every movement required precision, strength, and control. Why does this hurt so much? He muttered under his breath. Because it's real work, Claire said, overhearing him. Not like your silly pranks. Ethan glared at her but bit back a retort. Deep down, he knew she was right. Weeks turned into months, and Ethan found himself improving, albeit slowly. His posture became more refined, his movements less erratic. The physical changes were noticeable too. His once slouched shoulders straightened, and his wiry frame grew leaner and stronger. But the biggest transformation wasn't physical. It was in how he saw the world and himself. One evening after practice, Ethan sat on the studio floor, drenched in sweat. Claire plopped down beside him, handing him a bottle of water. You're not half bad, you know, she said, smiling. Coming from you. I'll take that as high praise, he replied, chuckling. Claire leaned back, her expression softening. Why do you even care about this now? I mean, when we started, it was all a joke to you. Ethan hesitated, looking at his hands. At first, it was just about proving I could do it. But now, I don't know. It feels good to work for something real, you know? To push myself in a way I never thought I could. Claire nodded, her gaze thoughtful. I get that. Ballets like that. It's not just about the dance. It's about discipline, dedication, and finding beauty in the struggle. For the first time, Ethan felt like he truly understood what Claire meant. As the date of the recital approached, Ethan's nerves began to mount. This wasn't like the prank performance. This time, he was expected to actually perform, and not as a joke. The routine Claire had choreographed for him wasn't easy. It required coordination, strength, and most importantly, grace, something Ethan still struggled with. Keep your movements fluid, Claire instructed during one of their final rehearsals. Think of it like water, soft but powerful. Ethan nodded, focusing intently. As he moved through the steps, he could feel the difference. The clumsy, rigid movements of his first attempts were gone, replaced by something smoother, more deliberate. You're getting there, Claire said, a note of pride in her voice. The night of the recital. The auditorium was packed, the energy palpable. Ethan stood backstage, his heart pounding. He wore a sleek black costume, his hair neatly styled. He barely recognized himself in the mirror. You ready? Claire asked, appearing beside him. No, he admitted, laughing nervously. She smiled. Good. That means you care. As the lights dimmed and the music began, Ethan took a deep breath and stepped onto the stage. The routine was a blur of movement and sound. Ethan focused on every step, every turn, every leap. He could hear the audience's applause, but it felt distant, secondary to the rhythm of the music and the beat of his own heart. When the final note played and the lights dimmed, the audience erupted into applause. Ethan stood there, breathless, as a wave of emotion washed over him. Claire joined him on stage, taking his hand and bowing with him. You did it, she whispered. Ethan grinned, his chest swelling with pride. For the first time in his life, he felt like he'd truly accomplished something. The recital marked a turning point for Ethan. Though he would always be the prankster at heart, he found a new passion in ballet. He continued to train with Claire and the other dancers, even joining their group officially. The experience taught him more than just how to dance. It taught him about perseverance, humility, and the beauty of stepping out of his comfort zone. And while the road from prankster to ballerina had been anything but smooth, Ethan wouldn't have had it any other way. Because sometimes, the best transformations come from the most unexpected places. Thank you so much for watching till now. It means the world to have you here. This community is all about empowering each other and celebrating the incredible journeys of everyone on their path to living authentically. If you're ever feeling lost or alone, remember you have a whole family here for you. Hit that subscribe button. Smash that like button. And let's keep inspiring each other, sending you all the love and strength in the world. Until next time, live your life by your rules.